and I'm sure there are lots of questions in people's minds. We had one in particular, which in some sense you touched upon, Mufti Amjad, why there is conflict between Muslims, Sunni and Shia, I think was probably in there, which to some extent you dealt with groups against each other. But I'm wondering if to start off our question and answer, if you'd like to address that one first, which was from Alex Lipkin, and then we'll go into general Q&A.
Sure. So with the Shia Sunni, this goes back to, it's a theological difference, which started off originally as a political difference. We saw, for example, where the basis is of the killing of Hussein, who is the grandson of the Prophet, and he was killed. And as a result, once he was killed, there was obviously a group who felt, even before that, which was just an opinion, that Ali, who was the cousin and also the son-in-law of the Prophet, he should have been given the Khilafah, the Khalif, the leader of the believers, the Amir al-Mu'mineen. Instead, it was given to Abu Bakr. So some views had it that it should have been handed from sort of, no son lived of the Prophet, so it should have been handed to the nearest male relative, pretty much like the way kingdoms were. But obviously, Islam was not based on kingdoms. Islam was based on who is the best person for that job. So those opinions existed. But once, obviously, Hussein was martyred, as he was, in Karbala, then we saw this division come. And then when we start to see the Umayyads and the Abbasids and the Fatimids and the Alids, and we start to see these various dynasties coming up, because there's never been, apart from the 30 years that the Prophet ﷺ lived, and then following him, I think it was about 30 years of the 4 Khalifs, there has always been division within the Muslim world. There's never been a monolithic group of people all adhering to one leader. You saw, for example, at one time, 3 Khalifs which existed, having their own names on various coins. So that has existed. So it's the usual thing. Very rarely are the battles waged on religious perspectives in the sense of we're going to bring these people towards the right. It was more either political differences or, for example, looking at empire building, or, for example, resources. And that is our human activity. As humans, one thing we found is, like we saw with the 2 sons of Adam, is we have an innate, unfortunately, we have an innate desire to go to violence in order to get what we want, and we sometimes do not stop. And after World War II, when the UN came into fruition, we all thought that the UN would stop all wars. But here we are, 70 odd years after the UN has come in, and there's probably been more wars after the UN has been formed than probably before. The only difference is they've not been in Europe. We've just moved the battleground to the Middle East or to Asia, rather than from the European ground. So, we unfortunately have that habit. When does your greed stop? We'll see, for example, right now we're seeing in the Western world where, it's advancing its views and beliefs far beyond its borders, because it feels that is the best way that people should live. So there are always going to be our views, which we want to push on other people, and if they don't accept, then it unfortunately is going to lead to war. So very rarely religious wars. They may still be with the Sunni Shia, that can quite easily be a religious war without any doubt, but they tend to be, as we said, just groups that are fighting that happen to be Muslim.